A 6-round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. He broke so many records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat.
He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls.
And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified gold.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all. The greatest of all time. You're the greatest
The greatest of all time.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker! I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately and won 7 rings.
So good at backing. He's meant to outdeck his teams.
A 6-round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. He broke so many records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat.
He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls.
And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified gold.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all. The greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker! I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately and won 7 rings.
So good at backing. He's meant to outdeck his teams.
A 6-round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the
Stugotz, I really don't know anymore how to talk about some of this stuff when you go from anger, helplessness, hostility. Yesterday during the show, Tony and Billy were fooling around talking about buying a plot of land in Tennessee. And as it's happening, right, like as soon as we end the show, we go out and all the televisions out there is another school shooting. And I'm just going to read some numbers to you guys because I really don't want you to get numb to this, even though we're the only country in the world that has this happening so often, because we can't protect our kids. Like, we don't care to. The American people want to change. Our leaders are too in bed with money. And the sacrifice, the human sacrifice, is literally, let's file it under political arguments, gun arguments, freedom arguments, and kids keep dying in schools. And the numbers are just appalling. You can't get numb to the numbers because none of you would be numb to the numbers if this was your kids.
If it impacted you or families that you know or people that you know or your community. But Dan, like, I'm sad to say, I feel like as a country, we're past the point. We're already numb to it.
Okay,
we shouldn't be, but I feel like we are.
Okay, but I'm for the moment, forgive me, just let me put on pause for a second because I do not want to continue to interrupt shenanigans, playgrounds, sports stuff with dead children. I don't want to do it, but this is the only country where I can do it. I have the freedom to do it, and the love of guns is such, and it's so corrupt and moneyed. Our politicians in bed with these people cooking bacon off of hot guns. I just want to read you some numbers. Maybe you're numb to this. The AR-15 industry are saying, like, pay attention to what's happening in this country, please. If you've ever had to flee to find your freedom, to escape to find it, you might value it more than the people making bogus, bad faith arguments now about why it is that they need AR-15 killing machines meant to kill human beings. And now, again and again and again, dead children in our schools, dead children with numbers that are horrifying. It's not just the dead, it's all the kids that are in the room with the dead. Like, go ahead and try and grow out of that at some point in your life. And at least 20 million AR-15s are stored and stashed across the country. More than 13.7 million of those have been manufactured by U.S. gun makers just since the Newtown massacre in late 2012, with those sales generating roughly $11 billion in revenue. The cost is dead children, again and again. A country that cannot protect its children. It's like the worst thing you can say. And the Washington Post did a study on AR-15s, and it should horrify you if you're just watching the divisions in this country. At any point, Trump here is allegedly, reportedly, practicing his perp walk because violence is coming again, obviously. You don't think that what just happened is going to go away, right? It's getting worse. We're selling more and more guns, more and more of these killing machine guns. Since the Columbine High School massacre in 1999, more than 338,000 students in this country. 338,000 students in this country have experienced gun violence at school. At school! At a place where, for learning. 2022, more school shootings, 46, than in any year since Columbine. 2023, there have been at least 59 children from the ages of 0 to 12 killed as a result of gun violence. 59 children. 2023, 130 mass shootings. It's fucking March! 100 come on, man. Like, what? I don't know. Like, you're numb to that? Like, I'm not saying you're numb to that. I'm saying, you can't be numb to that. Like, imagine your child in a school sitting there. You left them there in the morning thinking it was safe, thinking America was safe. Left them there. You don't get them back. Like, what? It's that random. Like, it's Parkland. It's Knoxville. You learn the names of cities. Like, why wouldn't it come to your school? All it takes is one incel. All it takes is one group of people that have been lonely, wronged by women. Don't have a have a life where they feel oppressed because the American system doesn't give them something and they can't get a date. Everyone, they're repressed, lonely people that are individual soldiers going all over the place as we're in the middle of a civil war. And the result, the cost, again and again, is dead children. Like you can't be okay with, you cannot be okay with the idea that you could drop your kid off at school only in this country, the freest country, and you won't get them back at the end of the day because you got to worry that this is going to happen. How can the schools not be safe, Stugotz? Like,
I don't think it's numbness. I think it's helplessness, and it's terrifying. If I'm being honest, I think about my granddaughter being dropped off at school and have worry that was just completely foreign to me a few years ago even. And we all thought we all thought Sandy Hook was a turning point. How naive were we?
Columbine was a turning point.
Parkland was.
There are all these, they're turning points, and I just read you a bunch of numbers, more and more guns. And it's not just guns, Stugotz, it's these guns.
Right. These guns that have no business being in the hands of the people who have them in their hands. These guns that should not be sold to teenagers in stores across America. Dan, when I say numb to it, I'm talking from a media coverage, from people sitting there and watching. Like that story came on. There was a time where CNN would have spent days on it, and now it's 15 minutes, move on. And so I do feel like as a country, it's not dominating their entire news coverage is what I'm saying. And unless, it hurts me to say this, if you haven't been impacted by it, then you really don't know what it feels like. And, it's sad because you tend to move on because you don't know what it feels like for your community to go through it. There are only a bunch of communities throughout the United States who have been through this. It's growing every day.
It's not an only now. It's not.
I know,
but
unless you've been impacted by it, you really don't know what it feels like and what it does to your city or to your town.
The numbers suggest at the rate that we're going proportionally, you're gonna get impacted by it.
But until you are actually impacted by it, I'm saying you don't really know what the impact is, because people in Parkland are still living with it every single day. It is impossible to drive around the city that I live in without a daily reminder of what happened at Stoneman Douglas. It's impossible. I drive past the school every day. And it impacts me just about every single day. And I just feel like because it's become somewhat and so commonplace.
It can't be that. This is what I'm telling you, Stugotz. That can't be allowed to be.
Dan, I don't want it to be that way.
It can't be allowed to be, is what I am telling you.
That's not up to you.
Obviously it's not up to the American people, because the American people aren't okay with this. They're not. It's only our lawmakers.
Well, how can anyone be okay with this except the lawmakers?
What do we do, though, is the question. We all sit here.
Stop taking money.
I feel like we all agree. Like, what
does that mean? What does that mean, stop taking money?
Well, the NRA makes so many political contributions, Dan, that, the politicians tend to side with the NRA.
Again,
that's unfortunate.
I don't want to get into the forever argument that happens after things like this, where people choose sides on dead children. We can argue about anything these days. We're divided about everything these days. I didn't think there was another argument on the side of dead children, but we can politicize it, and it can become guns don't kill people, people kill people, as mental health problems continue to make these wayward soldiers feed off of the divisions in this country and think they're starting. Okay, now the Civil War starts. I'm going to go now, right, with my crazy, and I'm going to shoot up a school, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to become famous or infamous, and I'm going to die. I'm going to be one of the dead there after I've shot kids randomly with guns that under no circumstances should ever be in schools for any reason around kids. And it doesn't not only not get fixed, it's getting worse. And why wouldn't it keep getting worse if the divisions keep getting worse? And it feels like civil war is everywhere, and it feels like there are no leaders who are actually getting things done to fight the money, because the American infrastructure is polluted everywhere by corruption and money, and your government officials are just salespeople on behalf of lobbies. They're not even powerful people dictating the change. They're protecting the status quo, which is dangerous enough to, again, kill children at school.
But I guess that's the part where I roll my eyes now, where politicians will come, no more. This can't happen anymore. It's like rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
We do that. These events happen. They're tragic. They're awful. We cry. A politician comes on your TV, a president, tells you he's going to change it or she's going to change it, and they never do.
Yeah.
And then it goes away until the next
It
story,
hasn't gone
which
away.
is now 2 days later, right?
They're happening too often.
That's what I'm saying.
He's saying the story goes away,
Right.
which is terrible.
Until the next one.
But it doesn't go away because it keeps arriving on our doorstep.
Well, the next one used to be months away, and now it's days away, and in some cases hours
but
away.
it used to be
Right.
miles away.
So much of the country is crying out, "Keep your thoughts and prayers. Give me action." And the problem is no action ever happens. And already we see the extreme far right saying what we need is more guns in the hands of good people. That's actually a quote I heard from a politician I'm not even going to name.
But I when we talk about I get why we do this. I get why every single time the conversation turns to whatever the politics are about this, so that we have the talking points. But I really don't think anyone listening to this is okay with dead children. Like there's no one sane listening to this being okay with schools being shot up.
But there seems to be people who care more about certain issues with their politicians and what they stand for on those issues than caring about whether or not there's money lining their pockets from the NRA. Realistically, there's politicians all over this country who we know how much money they take from the NRA, and there are people who vote for them over and over and over again because they are single-issue voters on other things, or they are so obsessed with the Second Amendment that they can't seem to understand this issue.
Again, I just don't know what to do with the advancing of this conversation when it continues to feel as frustrating, as helpless, as infuriating. And then you can go issue by issue, whether it's abortion or elsewhere, where there's a fundamental disconnect, where if you poll the American people, you will find that 70 and 75% of people are not okay with something that the money controls with the 25%. And the result, the cost, is dead children.
Spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna to the Super Bowl. Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to run and void temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thin bowl of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
Stugotz, I would like your assistance with something because the media is running with the public beef between me and Stephen A. Smith. They are saying again and again from every turn that we are beefing because he came on South Beach Sessions and I told him I hate what he and Skip Bayless had done to sports television. Then he came on vacation.
Made it great.
Came off of vacation. And people are saying he excoriated me on his new podcast, No Mercy.
Do you feel like you're beefing?
No, not at all.
He very carefully said, and I'm not saying this about Dan LeBatard every time before he said something, so he's not saying it about you. Can I just say this?
But once you say something like that like 5 times, I think you are talking
It's about you.
Dan LeBatard.
Yeah.
Since you talked about it, it's probably about you.
Can I say this? I'm not comfortable with this. I don't like this position. I don't like having to potentially choose between you and Stephen A. Smith. Like, it's not
Dan,
a comfortable
I don't know if you like
position
that.
that you're putting all of us in here, Dan.
I'm not putting you in that position. We're not beefing.
Well, do you guys like each other? Like
very much so.
Well,
are you
is
sure?
it mutual?
Yeah.
Like, I was trying to figure that out because we had kind of like an icy Radio Row interview with him on behalf of Subway, where I believe you won the number 6, whatever the number 6 was in the Subway game, and there was that whole thing. And then,
It's a good sub.
yeah, oh, great sub. Yeah. And 2 hours cold still holds up.
Oh,
I'll say that.
Delicious.
But then this one, it seems
It's
like you
important
guys,
that you say that.
You
I'm
weren't
glad that you said that.
Pitch man.
you weren't particularly friendly with each other in this one either. So it like. I'm
No,
worried
that's not
that
true. If you listen to the whole South Beach Sessions, it's fine. It's this one clip. It's the whole thing.
It's long.
It is. It's an hour.
How about South Beach Sessions, though? Nice little comeback.
Yeah.
It was
all
great.
over the
Excellent.
internet. All over the internet.
Cougs.
I'm sorry?
I was just saying
Cougs
Cougs.
chant.
Yeah. It's an inside joke. Cougs.
Okay, that's good. Go sit in the penalty box.
Oh, wow.
Bishop
I
to Rook
appreciate your inside jokes for 6 people. Thank you. Do the
10.
national show with the rest of us. Or do that show for 6 people.
2 minutes for an inside joke.
Yes,
Huh?
5 minutes.
Wow, a major.
Wow.
Wow.
But it's our obsession with the oog sound, though. Like, the guy's got an oog in his name, so we got to go oog.
Thank you.
Okay.
You go sit with him.
Oh, my God.
No,
We're running out of producers.
The two of you are executive producing the show today. He's doing it surreptitiously as an undercurrent through you, and it's been bad. The two of you have executive produced the show poorly today.
I want to do an experiment. Garrett Cooper. Now, see, we're just obsessed with that sound.
Yeah.
The thing that I wanted to ask the group here, because he's in the content business and I'm in the content business, and the thing that was happening with this story is people are creating a beef between me and Stephen A. Smith is many, many, many people were delighting in the idea, oh, wait, LeBatard, you hate what they've done to sports television? What about you? And my meager defense, and I don't think I have this right, I think it's a blind spot that I lack some self-awareness, is wait a minute, I'm not like that. I could have done a debate show on ESPN. The CEO of that company is now the CEO of our company. I didn't want to do a debate show. I did. I think debate sports television is dumb, and I think sports radio has infected everybody. Sports radio used to be the dumbest medium. Now television has taken what sports radio did and turned it into what First Take is. First Take used to be the worst show at ESPN. Now it's one of the most popular, at least in part because the sports radioization of all this stuff has taken over what used to be a journalistic entity.
You had a sports debate show on ESPN that you did from a kitchen where you showed videos of umpires getting hit in balls and animals.
I saw that clip the other day. 4-year anniversary.
It did happen.
But I really think that I've got a blind spot about what is the hypocrisy of, like, wait a minute, you guys think that what I do with sports is the same as what they do with sports, and I think I've got this wrong, or all the people saying this don't actually consume any of what we do, which is also very likely.
It's long.
Yes. Agreed.
I mean, Stephen A. on South Beach Sessions let you know that he thought you were a contributor to this. And that was great for South Beach Sessions, that little give and take. And Stephen A. Smith making content of it now on his podcast is the least surprising thing on earth.
And
the
us
beef is
making
gold.
content
That's how you
about
do
that
it.
content
Yeah.
is the least
Yes.
surprising
That's
thing in
the
the
game,
world.
Dano.
Well, this is where I can't dispute that I am like.
That's right. In fact, on the next Greg Cody Show podcast, we're going to cover this whole thing. We're going to get into the beef. We're going to delve into it.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it's
Great
gold,
idea.
man. It is
Yeah.
gold.
Yeah.
I know you want to deny it, Dan, but were you on PTI like all the time?
Making fun of it.
You were the BAM!
While in it, making fun, like not respecting the rules, doing like always mocking that, like I got in trouble. And, okay.
No, you were, but eventually you had to give a take. Like you had to. Like Tony would give a take, you would have to counter take. Like that's how the game works. You know.
Second take.
You know, mock it a little bit, make fun of it. I really don't want to be here, but then eventually you have to give takes.
I
mean, that's it.
cannot
Ain't
dispute
wrong.
the contention that I have benefited from what it is that those guys have made of sports television. I cannot dispute that PTI was the grandfather. Kornheiser is literally a grandfather. There were some people in here today who looked up at the television at Wilbon and Kornheiser and were like, "Those dudes are still doing it." That's one of the most successful shows in the history of any kind of television.
And
Not
continues,
just
yeah.
not just sports television, but I thought I was making fun of it. I thought I'd made clear to everyone who's listening to this show that I existed to mock all of it.
I think that you did. You made a great effort to mock all of it, to make fun of it, but eventually, again, producers telling you, give the take. I mean, you got to
Buy
give
or
a take.
sell, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Well, correct. I had to respect those games.
Mail
That's
time.
what it would be. It would be buy or sell. They'd all be 7 games. One would
Beauty.
wear
Mail time.
One would wear a cop hat. That's right. Like they're all
Talk to Bob from
they're all
Wisconsin.
the same
Sounds
game.
like you're selling.
They're all the same game. That's correct. And they'd always get mad at me because they're like, Dan, you just gotta just sell that these are
Just
all the
buy or
same
sell,
game.
yeah.
And then the producer,
Life's a sale, Dan.
the producers of that show came to me one time and they said, no, we got a totally different game than all the other games, the cop hat and the costumes and everything else. We got it.
Classic.
We got to appeal to the Latin demographic, Dan. See? Oh, no.
A classic.
Genius.
I mean, it formed my childhood.
That one was different.
I don't think so. It's the same. We're arguing
Different
about.
game.
No, I'm arguing. It's an argument show with my dad about my strange addiction.
Poppy's always intrigued.
Always, it was
Bobby
infuriating.
wanted to debate.
It was infuriating. He was always saying "and see" to the improv. It was, but I legitimately, when I'm reading the coverage on this, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. These people can't be consuming what I've been doing. Like, what's right there? I genuinely don't know. Is it that they're not consuming the silliness of what we do, or is it that they do indeed think that Highly Questionable and this were an attempt to be First Take? Because that opportunity was available to me. I don't think Bomani and I disagreed on air once in like 7 years.
Oh,
Like, we didn't disagree very much.
right.
It wasn't an argument show, and I'll tell you why. I would have lost all those arguments to Bomani. He's better at it than anyone I've ever seen. Better than Stephen A. even.
The best ever?
Best I've ever seen.
See?
HQ is honestly ahead of its time, man. Now everybody's doing watching ridiculous videos and putting them out. Like, you guys, look at you.
I'm going to tell you a true story. This is a true story. It's one of my first PTIs, one of the first I did. And they wanted to talk about the Masters or some golf. And I'm like, I don't know anything about golf. Can we lead with the bear falling out of the tree and landing on a trampoline? And it bounced. And they're like, we can't lead with that. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't lead with that? It's a giant bear that lands on a trampoline and bounces off. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah. But it was Masters Week.
Well, it wasn't even Masters. It was the second day of like the Honda Classic or something.
It's a big day.
It was
a big tournament.
Actually,
the Honda used to mean something.
That's the day I'm usually there.
The funniest part about it is they gave me all the throwaway days of the summer. So there weren't actually any sports. It's when Tony and Mike disappeared and somebody would get stuck with me and Jay Mariotti.
Oh, God.
HQ would have crushed on TikTok. It would have been
back.
huge, man.
We had a lot of good videos, and we would find a lot of videos before other people. We were Rex Chapman's aggregated website, aggregated Twitter account before anybody else. We would find good stuff, and this was ultimately the downfall of Highly Questionable, such that you can say, 8-year run is pretty good.
You left,
Yeah, but we were on ESPN2 And here is the mistake we made before we ended up at ESPN. I want to do nothing but bouncing bears on trampolines. And they're like, Dan, do you know how much people who are going to ESPN2 want sports? And I'm like, yeah, but funny videos. Look at this funny video of this guy getting hit in the balls with a sledgehammer. And they're like, yeah, they don't. Maybe Comedy Central. And maybe ridiculousness, maybe somewhere else, not on. Do you realize how wrong a fit this is for ESPN2, where the diehards exist to get sports?
The deuce.
So to be clear, though, Stephen A. is the one that made the mockery of sports journalism.
I didn't think I did it like Stephen A. Smith, and I'm not saying that he made a mockery of sports journalism. I am saying that the show that they do birthed a whole lot of copycats that don't do it as well. And furthermore,
Nick Wright's plenty good.
Agreed. He's great.
I was just trying to pick a random person that is he's one of the people. He does a show.
For sure.
It's inspired by First Take.
Acting. Like, this is the thing, the performative aspect of this. I've always thought that the way we're doing it is with a wink. First Take doesn't make me laugh, except when it doesn't intend to. When like, it's not a laugh show. It's
Mad Dog's not trying to be funny.
No, it's an art.
Right.
I know
Yeah.
it's an art. He's doing it by accident. That is
so funny.
My God.
It's true.
Stephen A. don't wink. He's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Put it on the poll.
Put it on the poll, Juju, at LeBatardShow. Does Stephen A.
No, just Stephen A. don't wink. Yes or no?
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest.
His name, of course, is Wade Jones.
Who that is, and let me take the opportunity to remind you that the Miami Hurricanes are a national semifinalist. All right? This is a... I hate it when people go, this is a football player. Like, we don't know that.
Okay, this is a football player.
Oh, man.
All right, let's see. This is a Josh Jacobs. No?
Number 2. Is this a New Orleans Saint? I don't think I know who this is.
This player is on the Eagles. Is not on the Eagles. That's not what I meant to say. I meant it's not on the Eagles. This player is on the Saints. Not on the Saints, I meant. This is a Raider, possibly Jet. Not that.
Okay, number 2. Is that his real jersey number, Taylor? 2. Two teams from the state of Florida that made the Final Four. Jim Larrañaga has taken 2 separate teams to the Final Four. One George Mason, one Miami Hurricane team. Jordan Miller was perfect from the field. Norchad Omier, 3rd-team All-ACC. Do those voters even watch college basketball? Zay Wong, retire his jersey. Nigel Pack, a bargain. There's no stopping us at all. I don't give a who this is.
Damn it. I was so confident this was Josh Jacobs.
We don't need to get into this today, but like the NFL would do a better job of marketing their players without helmets on.
God, I stink. You should know this.
Who is this?
Number 2 in your... Well, no, not number 2 in your heart. I don't know, man. I don't know.
This brother, salute to this brother, this this joker who cost this team a game last year against the Falcons, DJ Moore. You feel me? He gonna be doing big things in Chicago this year. Keep it going, my brother. We salute you.
All right, coming off an incredible performance where I got Jalen Brunson, I'm going to try to get 2 in a row here for the first time ever. Oh my God. You thought you would trick me with this. This is my boy, okay? My guy, who I believed in since he got drafted, okay? That I was like, this guy is a legitimate wide receiver 1. He couldn't do it in Carolina. Now with Justin Fields, is he going to be able to do it? This, my friends, is DJ Moore. Come on, let's go. Haters, let me know. I'm calling.
Oh, wow. This is a football player. This is
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
It is!
Baby one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to unavoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thimble of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
Get it!
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton.
Hey guys, Brady, a shotgun of beer or what?
I don't feel so good.
All right, Mike Schur joins us. He'll give us the stat of the day here in just a couple of minutes. Mike, are you excited? Opening day, the fastest sport in the world is back.
The fastest 2.5 hours in sports is baseball. I am excited. It's very exciting.
It
Who wouldn't be
is.
excited about opening day? Only a real sourpuss
You
would
can
be excited about opening day.
You can check out all his baseball thoughts and otherwise. You guys doing any emergency podcasting on the podcast? Billy and Jabba Chamberlain and Stugotz want to do a God Bless Football. I think Billy said so that we can have a baseball, God Bless Baseball podcast so that we can have a podcast. I believe this is a direct quote around here. Baseball podcast that people listen to.
Ouch.
Fair.
We're going to be opening
good
up
luck.
football cards. Yeah.
We are going to do a season preview every year. We run through every team and give you the best possible information about how they're going to do and what their final record is going to be and who's going to make the playoffs. It's based on nothing but our guts in that moment. Zero research, zero preparation, and yet we claim it's 99% accurate every year. So you can look forward to that. I don't know when we're doing that, but it should be this week.
Sounds awesome. What do you have on the Twinkies? Anything?
Just in general?
Yeah, I mean,
They got Correa back.
All
They're
right.
gonna be fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's going to be fine. I like that.
I think Jabba Chamberlain and Billy can do better than that. What do you think of the
I don't know.
Twinkies? Maybe
I've
not.
I've heard them talk on podcasts before. I'm not sure they got anything better than
Whoa.
Wow.
He's got a point.
Thanks for listening.
Whoa. The podcast, very popular despite Billy's undermining of the podcast. He does it with Joe Posnanski, and they know a ton about baseball. Let's get to the stat of the day here. We've missed you yesterday. Anything to report? I told the audience very little information because these are company secrets, but I told them that you were sitting out yesterday. I betrayed you a little bit, I guess, telling people that you were sitting out because you were protesting the hiring of David Samson, and I guess nothing, and also nothing personal. His podcast.
I don't want to make a big deal out of this. It was something I felt like I should do. It was just I'm a labor guy. I side with labor. Samson is a management guy. He sides with management, and I just thought, for one day I would hold back my silly nonsense that I do here on the show as like a small little like, hey, this is how I feel about this. No big deal. I'm just gonna hold out for one day, and then we can all move on and become friends again. That's all.
A bit of a hunger strike. Many people around here have tried to argue with David Samson if we do indeed want to get an argument show off the ground. Billy, I think, has done it better and less emotionally than anybody. I think Ariel Helwani and an assortment of others have tried to argue with the lawyer Samson, and I think Billy's the only one who's done it particularly well. But I also think, Mike Schur, that you want into that arena, correct? You want a public...
No, I don't. I'm not trying to pick a fight. I really am not. I'm not trying to pick a fight. I'm not trying to argue. I just thought for one day I'll just do send a little message to the higher ups at Meadowlark. It's over. We can move on. Everything's back to normal.
But you don't want to argue with David Samson?
No, I have no interest in arguing with him or picking a fight with him or antagonizing him at all.
Because I thought that you did. I mean, you said on the air that you wanted to argue with him labor versus management because he argues.
I know, but I know how this goes. You know, like he's got all these pro-management arguments down to a science, and he deflects and he dissembles and he hides and he like dodges and he weaves and everything, and then I get flustered, I'll get flustered and start becoming emotional, and he'll go like, well, that's actually not the case, according to this thing and that thing and this thing and that
He's
thing.
a master of the game. I mean, that's how you do it. Yeah.
Wow. So as a result, I don't want to pick a fight with him. I really don't. I don't want that smoke. I don't want any of that noise. I just made a little silent protest, and now I'd like to just move on.
Wow,
Sounds like you're scared, man.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like you're running from David Samson, even though you have the better argument. You're on the side of the people.
And you're taller.
You know what? It's like, don't feed the trolls is the way I look at it. Like it's hard to win an argument against a troll, and to a large extent, he's a shill for management, a shill for ownership, and I don't particularly want to fight with him.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at LeBatardShow. Is it hard to win an argument with a troll? Go ahead and play the stat of the day music, please.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
The stat of the day is brought to you by Venmo. Your money, your move.
Folks, according to Georgia State University's Sports and Urban Policy Institute, the atrocity currently known as Lone Depot Park was 80% paid for with $488 million in bonds issued from Miami-Dade County and the city of Miami. The interest on those bonds through the year 2049 will bring the total cost to the city and county to $2.6 billion. $2.6 billion would pay for the entire contracts of Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge, Manny Machado, Francisco Lindor, Fernando Tatis Jr.,
good team,
Bryce Harper, and Ronald Acuna Jr. That's your stat of the day, brought to you by Venmo.
Not Stanton.
Who'd want Stanton?
That
is a terrible contract.
That is David Samson, who stole all that money from the county of Miami.
Oh, was it? I'm sorry. Was Samson running the team at the time? I had totally forgotten that. That was not yeah, that's funny. Funny coincidence. We were just talking about him.
Yeah, it'd be a good argument between you and he.
Again, I'm not interested in antagonizing him. I'm really not. I I'd totally forgotten that he was in charge of the Marlins when that stadium deal went through.
I've got a couple of sports-related questions for you. Can you give me your analysis, as Meek Mill evidently has told the Patriots, do I have the reporting on this right? Has told Bob Kraft that he should go.
What a time.
Go after Lamar Jackson. The Lamar Jackson thing is fascinating for a number of different reasons. This guy's usually not available. You would think that somebody would want it. And he's making a big public mess now because he wants to be traded, and I'd want him on my team. He'd make a lot of teams immediately better.
I have no idea. Obviously, no one has any idea whether this is actually true. I will only say this. Lamar Jackson is exactly the kind of football player that Bill Belichick loves. You know, it's just a guy with like an incredible football acumen. It's just a guy who's good at football. And I think Belichick has spent 2 years watching Mac Jones be like a solid B minus C plus
not
quarterback.
good at football. Not good at football.
Yeah.
Mac Jones.
It's
yeah.
but fine, like borderline competent at football. And look, it's his first 2 years. Who knows what he'll become? But like Lamar Jackson is the kind of guy, like if you've ever seen Belichick talk about Ed Reed, I imagine that's the way he would talk about Lamar Jackson, just because he's so good at the only thing that Bill Belichick loves or cares about in the world. So I have no idea whether there's any credence to this at all, or any legitimacy to it. When I read those rumors, my first thought as a lifelong Patriots fan was like, oh yeah, he absolutely wants Lamar Jackson on his team. Whether that's possible,
I mean, quarterbacks are hard to get. Good quarterbacks are hard to get. He had one for 20 years that helped him do a lot of winning. This one's better than Mac Jones, and everyone should want someone like this.
But also specifically, the way that Bill Belichick wants to win football games, he wants to win them 14-10 by running the ball for 291 yards. He wants to be like the 1951 Navy midshipmen beating
how great
beating Notre
Mike,
Dame.
How great is that strategically? I would love an honest conversation with Bill Belichick about how let's do this. Navy midshipmen against Tua and Tyreek Hill, against Josh Allen, and against Aaron Rodgers. Just hold the ball all game and beat them 14-9.
Yeah. Yes, hold the ball for 43.5 minutes. Gain 3 to 4 yards on every run.
Ruin fun.
The best defense sometimes is a good running game.
Get Lamar Jackson and make him someone that everyone hates because, damn it, again on 3rd and 3, he's getting 3.5 yards.
What was the final score of the 2001-2002 Super Bowl against the greatest show on turf? 17-14. He ruined football for everyone in America. All America wanted to see was that Rams team score 49 points and blow a team out with like endlessly long passes to Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. And he denied them that, which is why everyone hates him. So yeah, that's like Lamar Jackson is exactly the guy he wants. He wants rushes, triple options, and then he wants one seam route to a tight end at a key moment when everyone thinks. He wants to be those Nebraska teams, those Tommy Frazier Nebraska teams. That's Bill Belichick's absolute dream. So look, he's 70 years old. Who knows how much longer he's coaching? Like, if you're not going to win another Super Bowl with Mac Jones, you might with Lamar Jackson if everything breaks correctly. If I would be giving all of my number 1 picks away if I were Bill Belichick. Like, he's got a small number of years left. The only chance he has to win another Super Bowl is if he gets Lamar Jackson.
Did you just kill Bill Belichick? Did you just kill him?
I just said he's going to retire soon.
He didn't say retire.
That's not what you said.
He's got a few years left.
You said he had a small number of years
in
left.
the league.
No, you didn't say that.
Okay.
Stugotz
Next time, say it.
Stugotz has been talking about how quiet Belichick's been this offseason. Not yesterday. He said something. Question to him: What would you say to fans to be optimistic for what's ahead for the Patriots? Bill Belichick's response: The last 25 years.
Can't say that.
Bona fides. Gave us bona fides, didn't he?
Yeah, but you can't be the guy that gives bona fides when you start every single training camp by saying last year was last year, this year is this year. Like,
of course he. Well, he's old and grouchy. Look, Look, I'll say this. As a fan of the team that has ruined football for everyone else since the year 2001. The funniest possible thing would be Dolphins fans go into this season thinking like, hey, if Tua can stay healthy, we've got Tyreek, we've got all these weapons. The Jets get Aaron Rodgers. The Bills are like, we were so close. We've been so close. This is our year. This is our year. Then the Patriots get Lamar Jackson and grind out like a 10-6 year and get into the wild card and then just beat everyone 14-9 on the road in the playoffs.
Including the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Go to Buffalo, go to Kansas City, just suck the souls out of another 3 or 4 fan bases.
I can't, I don't know if anyone has a nominee of something that funnier that has happened from the owners' meetings, but I think the funniest thing that I've seen so far happen from the owners' meetings is that Andy Reid did know the 7 particular cheeses that he uses in mac and cheese, but had no idea who Jordan Love was.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey, a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thimble of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey
guys, Brady. Get a shotgun of beer or what? I don't feel so good.
I am genuinely fucked up right now.
To the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
Complaints coming in from all over Stugotz. Just generally, people seem to be complaining more, and they are not happy with the way this show treats the beloved Ron McGill. And someone writes in, I hated this segment's opening. I get what you guys do, but it's just dickish the way that you treat Ron McGill.
You don't get the show.
I want to update the tournament here because we've gotten away from our looks like tournament, and I don't think, I'm not sure, but have we for sure updated this correctly? Because I think there are a lot of looks like in this tournament that people have not heard, that we have not played these offerings as often as we usually do, and most of them have only been played one time. So Kansas State is gone from the tournament from the Saturday game, and that means one of the weakest top seeds that I've ever seen in the tournament is gone from the tournament, thankfully.
Chris Whittingham looks like his favorite dinosaur is the thesaurus.
But FAU is...
It's not a dinosaur, Dan.
That's the joke, yes.
Yeah.
That's just...
You get it?
Yeah, that's the...
Because he's a nerd.
That's the...
Loser.
That's the joke.
Hope to never see him
He
again.
likes words.
Yes, those two are competing for the executive producer job here. He'll be here tomorrow, Chris Whittingham. He
What?
I don't
How?
know.
Really?
He wants
Wow.
his job
Wow,
back.
he's
wants
back.
the worst quitting I've ever
It is.
seen.
It's the same. I thought Mike Ryan gave up the executive producer job. We can't get rid of anybody. Everybody. I don't understand what we're doing here. Pablo Torre wanting in surprised me.
It's called that bad for Chris Cody today?
Wow.
I didn't think
I think
so.
it's going great.
Get off my plane.
I mean, Pablo's going to feed me lines I don't understand. I'm not certain if they're funny. I don't think that's a good choice. I mean,
we are having an open audition here in front of everybody. And so far, you're seeing the Chris Cody experience. FAU, Proud Owl.
Andrew looks like he switched from coffee to a mushroom-based tea, and it absolutely changed his life for the better.
Both the Codys will be at the Final Four on the
Proud alum.
on the sponsorship of Sheets and Giggles.
Weren't they supposed to be at the last game?
I'd like to negotiate. I really don't understand what's happening here because we got more and more people than we ever have. I think we've got more than 50 employees now. There are people on the Slack saying, yes, we've negotiated all of this with FAU. It's done. We're going to get Chris Cody there. And then I hear that you're not there. You're not
This
even.
one's not on us, though. We are. I'm following all these Slack channels. Like, we have tried to get me on, I don't know what we're like, on the bench, near the bench, and it's on them at this. Like, we have done usually, Dan, you're right. Usually we drop the ball on this stuff, but this one, I kind of get from their side of like, hey, this is only the biggest game in the history of our school, so maybe we don't want your hijinks. But we've done our part.
But you're going to Houston to get content for what?
For the Greg Cody Show with Greg Cody, and for just content.
But why would the company pay for you to do something for the Greg Cody Show?
Well, I'm already there. That's the point.
Yeah.
You're getting me there on another dime. The company's not paying for that.
Right.
So it's honestly.
But
for
what
the
are you doing for this
honestly,
show?
for the company to ask me, for this show to ask me to do something, I'm not being sent there by this company. So technically, I'm willing to because look at me, team guy. But I'm saying you're coming at me like I owe the show something. I'm being sent there, not a part of the show.
You're paying
on another dime.
Right.
Okay.
How does
your
that,
dime.
How does that help the show as the executive producer of the show, the position that you're aiming for? How does that help our show?
See, once again, if it wasn't for another show, I wouldn't be in Houston.
Right. Exactly. I'm going through the same thing with the Miami Herald. The Miami Herald is not sending me to Houston. Sheets and Giggles is. It gets complicated.
A sponsor? Well, it's not complicated. You stole a sponsor from us to do work that's not for us.
Well, they left you.
For Greg.
Right. I mean, I don't want to put it in delicately, but, they left you. They dumped you.
And you're just
And
sleeping
I
with
was
the
there.
ex. You're just sleeping with the ex.
Baby.
Greg Cody into affairs, huh?
Yeah, well,
Sloppy
second of that.
seconds, yeah.
And you know it. Hey.
Paul George look like your brother's friend, Devin, who everyone just calls D.
That's UConn.
Oh, the Huskies.
UConn has
My show today, baby.
advanced. Gonzaga is gone. That was the most I think that was the most impressive performance I've seen in the tournament. What UConn did to Gonzaga, number 3, gone.
LaMelo Ball looks like the kid in a Mountain Dew commercial that is amazed that his grandmother can skateboard after just one sip of Cold Red.
That was a great one.
It hurts.
That was a great one.
It hurts. I would have been fine with that winning the tournament. San Diego State was in the Sunday game. San Diego State. This advancement, both Tony and Chris were really objecting. Well, you know what? They were disagreeing, Stugotz, because Tony's one of the few I've seen defend the call that sent Creighton packing.
Oh, I thought it was a good call.
It's 100% a foul.
Yeah.
You guys,
100% a
you
foul.
thought it was a good call?
It is 100%
when
a
you
foul.
saw the slow
No.
motion from the angle behind, you can
because
see
I'm not
the-
on the court. If that was me getting tugged from my waist on a floater to end the game, it's a foul.
You got to swallow that whistle there.
No, Chris, it took a couple of reviews and slow motion for me to see it, but once I saw it, it's a foul.
Right,
Like,
but it's like.
but I don't care, but I'm giving that advantage as a viewer. And that was a great argument, by the way.
I hate that. I just hate that argument. It's like I'm watching the game.
It affects the shot. It impacts the shot. It has to, of course.
Your momentum is taking you forward, and then he's
Right.
bringing you back in the middle of a shot. It's a
They
foul.
play that entire game and they're tied. And it's just like a semantics call that at any other time in the game could have been called or it couldn't have been called. It's not like I get what you're saying. When you slow it down in the yes, you see the arm, but in fast time, you just don't. Let's not decide the game this way. It's a tie game. You played all this time, and it's like we're just gonna this subjective call that might not get called another time is gonna decide
Chris,
the game.
It's the same thing as what's a catch, right? When you see it in slow motion, ooh, did he have his foot down? Is the ball moving? When you see it in real speed, it's a catch. The same way you see it in real speed, it's a foul. He pulls him back.
We criticize referees so much and, call the game. If it's a foul in the first quarter, it should be a foul in the fourth quarter. This referee actually made in real time, made the right call, made a great call, and yet we're still blasting him because the game didn't finish the way we wanted it to finish.
He got bailed out, this ref, by the fact that you see this stupid little arm flail out. I just don't. I don't care what you guys say. I don't want that game decided at the free throw line.
It's the
a tie
same call
game.
with Zay Wong where he goes into the lane, pushes off a little bit, and then he hits a shot and they call an offensive foul. Like, those get called.
I mean, a left arm in the midsection as you're rising to shoot is a foul. It just is.
A lot of people feel
Look at us debating sports.
A lot of people feel like Chris Cody does on this one, that
Real hoopers know.
They want the players to decide it, not the officials. I would just like for the step back wider view of the people who have produced today's radio show that doesn't move as fast as a college basketball game are objecting to a snap judgment made in a moment at the end of the game by a human being in a game that's hard to officiate, and we will rain down judgment in the last 5 seconds
Get
of that
off
game
my plane.
because we think from our couch we could do a better job of seeing things. Because look, I just saw it in slow motion on the 7th view, and there were tug shorts there. And I'd prefer that game just go into overtime. Because, and I want to remind you, as this becomes more and more of a business, it's all made for television entertainment. So I don't care whether San Diego State advances or Creighton advances. Just give me more game. Give me more drama. Give me more madness. Give me more March. Tug of shorts. Tug his shorts, cheat a little bit if you need to, and dare the human being referee to be willing in those seconds to take the burden of, you idiot, you just decided the Final Four because you were referee guy who had to get in there. And, well, you saw the tug shorts.
He was doing his job. I mean,
that's correct.
Yeah.
His job is not to get us more basketball. Our job is to complain that he didn't get us more basketball.
You wanted 5 more minutes of 54-54?
I
mean,
want more stakes.
Right.
Stugotz.
If they did that, if that call didn't go in UM's favor, same scenario, we'd be outraged. We would.
Stugotz, there were calls. He just mentioned one of them on Wong at the end of that game. These games are being decided by nothing. The whole thing is an exercise in total silliness when you consider it's minor league basketball, and at the end of games it's being decided by nothing. We're saying, yep, that's the measurement. They're better. Yep, I've decided they're better. San Diego State beat Alabama. My guess is that they're pretty good. Let's play San Diego State here is represented. They're still in the tournament, represented by
Brandon Staley looked like he can never remember if he turned off the oven before he left the house.
Creighton is gone. That means this is gone.
Andy Reid looks like someone who looks at your chicken wing bones and says, "There's still meat on those."
You guys don't think Andy Reid was acting yesterday, right? He was asked about Jordan Love and had no idea who he was.
Oh, I think that's legit. I don't think he knew.
How would he know? He never plays.
But
we forgot about him. I'm sure he evaluated him at some point. And he was just like, "Wait, who's that? Yeah, oh yeah, I've heard of that guy."
We're all watching football, though. We all know who Jordan Love is. Andy Reid has played against Jordan Love, has he not? Like, how does he not know the name Jordan Love? And it's not like that's not in the news recently. Is he not following football?
I don't think Andy Reid's watching news anymore.
Bringing down tape.
7 kinds of cheeses.
He's earned that, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't need to pay attention to what's going on in the world. Just go, put on your Hawaiian shirt, have a cheeseburger in paradise. That's it.
What does he carry? He has Mahomes. I mean,
and 7 cheeses, which sounds delicious in his personal mac and cheese.
Oh, it sounds great. What are the cheeses? Do we know?
I don't have them on me. I haven't even heard some of them.
Wow.
I haven't. I
Exotic
don't
cheeses?
recognize the cheeses.
Sounds like Andy Reid. Jordan loves cheese, huh?
I like that one.
All right, both of
Jordan
you go
Love.
sit out
That
there.
was terrible.
Both of
See
you.
ya.
You for enabling it, him for making the joke. March Sadness brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. This is a good one. Miami is still in the tournament. That means this 5 seed. Quit whispering stuff to Stugotz and get the fuck out of here, Billy.
Tyler Hero looks like he claims Machine Gun Kelly has done more for hip hop than Dr. Dre.
Your insistence on anarchy around here and disrespecting the rules is something that's going to further get bigger punishments. I'm going to
Evil
start. People who do not leave when I tell them to leave on the penalty box are going to start having to go to the DMV, wait in the line without a reservation, only to say to the worker, "You're doing a great job," and then come back here. I'm going to start making people do that if you don't get out of here.
I agree with that.
When I've told you to get out of here.
They are doing a great job, the DMV.
Number 2, Texas is gone. That means this is gone.
Tom Izzo looks like he calls his star player the son I never had, even though he has 4 sons at home.
That's great.
It is good.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker! I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time.
He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately
round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all. The greatest time. He broke so many records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat.
He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls.
And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified goat.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all. The greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all.
We have been remiss here in not getting to Stugotz's top 5. These are top 5 things. Basically, this is a abbreviated version, but top 5 things that Stugotz has ravaged his body with in his 20s that he's now regretting after all of these years. We've been talking about how broken he is. He's flying back and forth to Chicago every week. He's not a young person anymore. He hasn't necessarily taken care of himself the way that one would have to be traveling this much, and he feels physically beat up.
Yeah, I had no idea that as you get older, traveling becomes increasingly stressful. It wears on you, like the wear and tear on you. Just walking through the airports, O'Hare especially, is the biggest airport in the country, and I'm exhausted. But the things I did in my 20s certainly did not help. I can tell you that.
And we have a top 5 here of just things, bad decisions you've made in your 20s. Is there, how do I present this to the audience? Just bad shit Stugotz did a long time ago.
These are the top 5 things I did in my 20s that probably make me feel the way I do today.
All right, number 5.
Natty Lights. There was a time back in the early 90s where you can go to the state liquor store and buy like 100 Natty Lights for like $20. And boy, did I buy a lot of Natty Lights. I mean,
the flats. Now I do that with Miller Lite.
Number 4.
Heaters. There was a time back in the 90s where you could buy 2 packs for for $17. Today, 1 pack is $17. It actually helps. It does. With cigarettes being so expensive. But back in the early 90s, you could buy a carton for like, $27, and I bought a lot of cartons.
Which decade did you smoke the most heaters in?
Wow.
This morning, Dan.
I was playing lacrosse in the 90s. The 80s weren't great.
Is the lacrosse thing a pro or con?
He's probably trying to keep the lungs. He was
Yeah.
probably running a lot, not playing with a cigarette.
Yeah, they canceled each other out. Like I would smoke, but then I would run. Now I'm just smoking. This morning, Dan.
Number 3.
Number 3, Store 24. A 24-hour convenience store that just never stopped. Anything you need, and I ate everything out of that store. It wasn't what I bought. It wasn't the beer. It wasn't the heaters. It wasn't the drugs we purchased outside of that store because it was open all night. It was the hot dogs, the nachos, the cheese, all the meals, the ramen noodles, all of it. Store 24. There were times where I wish I went there and it was closed, but then it wouldn't be called Store 24. It was always open.
I used to crush these burritos, like the refrigerated burritos that you just throw in the microwave.
That's not true. Don't tell me that's true.
I did it.
Come
I
on.
had a time with those.
Come on.
There's a 7-Eleven nearish my house that I have thought about going, and I was like, man, It'd be easier to just go here for like $1.25 and get like a slice of pizza or a hot dog
Your
than
whole
go through the whole process of cooking. I could feed the whole family for like
$10.
Yeah,
What
less
are you
than that.
doing? Your whole family could eat like kings for $10.
The hot dog on the roller that's
Yeah.
like an ironing board that's just
the
sitting there
taquito.
rotating.
But it's constantly moving, so nothing bad can grow on it.
Yeah, of course.
Put it
not.
on the poll.
Yep.
Have you ever done your grocery shopping at a gas station?
That's more expensive because you're paying for the convenience.
What you've just described.
No. Let's be
But
clear
he means
here.
getting a hot dog for everybody in the family and being like, here's $5
No.
and a hot dog. It's dinner.
No, that's how they get you, right? Because the hot cooked meals that are ready to go are very cheap. Now, if you want to go buy like a pack of ramen noodles or something that's not prepared, you're paying like $17.50.
Mm-hmm.
Number two,
LSD.
What could be worse than that?
I don't need to explain that.
Can't wait to get there. Number one,
The unnecessary 5th year I took in college. That 5th year was spent not in college. That 5th year was spent following the Grateful Dead, telling my parents I was in college.
Eddie, play.
Oh, it was fantastic.
You got it done in 5.
What a
Attaboy.
year I did. I left myself a credit short. I would call my dad. I'd tell him, hey, because back then, early 90s, payphones only. And I told him, hey, I'm in the Goddard Library. I wasn't. I was at Laguna Beach in California.
Van Wiener.
I mean,
On the other side of the country.
He didn't know.
I am telling you, that year and that year alone, Dan, I mean, the other 4 are just in second. That year got me. I am still paying for that year. I'll pay for that year till the day I die. In fact, that year is what's going to kill me.
it was a scam. Even you were scamming your dad back then.
Yeah.
I'd love Stugotz's origin story in the Fraud Museum of like childhood scams, just because he became this way somehow.
Mm-hmm.
He arrives as a formed adult expert at the scam, but he's been running scams
my whole life
for a really long time.
Yeah.
Presumably this is a learned behavior though, right? Like I feel like one of your parents probably was a scam artist as well that you learned this behavior from. So like you could think that you're scamming them when they know that you're full of it because they have in fact scammed you.
Mm-hmm.
They installed the paneling because I can see a circumstance under which the parents outsmart Stugotz.
So in the background, your dad never said, why does it sound like Jerry Garcia singing in the Goddard Library?
Never call from the concert. Ever. Okay. Never. Payphone, silence around you, hotel, anywhere. Never call from the concert. That was a rule. Yeah. You didn't know.
I wanna ask you guys something from the world of law, because there has been a lane developed, Stugotz, on entertainment that I have found fascinating, which is people who are very quickly, with great legal expertise, analyzing the trials of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, or right now, Gwyneth Paltrow is having a public trial that seems like a blind spot, lacking self-awareness, living in a chamber of scented candles, disconnect from the rest of humanity, that she is either in court getting horribly, horribly bad advice or getting good advice and totally ignoring it. Because she is on a stand, Stugotz, and she's being sued for $300,000, and she got into a ski accident, and the person suing her evidently has some brain damage. You tell me, because the person suing her, I imagine that person's attorney went home and did the Tiger Woods fist pump on the green of the Masters when Gwyneth Paltrow was asked what she'd lost compared to brain damage. And again, something that is about $300,000. She could have avoided all of this. This is going to cost more than that in attorney's fees if she loses.
Mm-hmm. She's countersuing for $1.
This is a waste of her time, because her time is worth more than the $300,000. And what I'm telling you is that the attorney for the opposition, when this answer was belched into America for what she'd lost, was how I'd script it if I was writing it in fiction.
And he has deterred you from enjoying the rest of what was a very expensive vacation.
Well, I lost half a day of skiing.
Wow.
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 Yep. It's Tiger Woods at the Masters. You're right. Yeah.
What a disaster.
Yeah.
Like that right there wins the case. Like, yeah, no, just gonna take $300,000 from you because you're being an asshole. Like you're not aware of some like that. Even if she's 100% in the right, the other guy was responsible for the accident, caused it, and is just trying to steal her money because she's a celebrity. You lose any court of law in America or elsewhere when what you say as Gwyneth Paltrow, founder of Goop, who claims to have invented yoga, when this is what you say.
And he has deterred you from enjoying the rest of what was a very expensive vacation.
Well, I lost half a day of skiing.
Wow.
Go to jail.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey, a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thimble of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl. I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
Get it!
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton.
Hey guys, Kyle Brady. Need a shotgun of beer or what?
I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
To the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
Let's do another round of shots. One more round.
I've told you before, Stugotz, that I love this Esquire feature, What I've Learned, in which they take a famous person who's lived a big or rich life, and sometimes they're not famous people. Sometimes they're neuroscientists who have an expertise in some area, and they just interview them for 3 or 4 or 5 hours and just try and put on one page a lifetime's worth of lessons. And I don't even remember who it is that it was. It was a director of some sort who said just the sentence, I like to start every morning with a cold shower because I know the day can't get any worse after that. And Tony's
So
been
start with the
Bingo,
worst.
Dano.
Yeah.
but Tony's been arguing on behalf of, in a way that none of us really understand. I think everyone's making fun of him. Billy is now took off his glasses theatrically and rubbed his eyes.
Because there's a lot going on here. Like he won't shut up about the stupid cold shower thing.
Cold plunges more importantly.
And
Like,
on-
that's what we need to do as a show to get together is do cold plunges right before the show. We all get into a cold plunge, 3 minutes, about 34 degrees, and the day will be in
Group
impeccable.
plunge.
On top of that,
plunge
though,
your face,
Dan,
too.
I will say this: you were
I'm with
saying
you.
were saying that you like this Esquire piece where famous people impart their wisdom or whatever, right? And then we behind the scenes were saying, I'm just tired of famous people thinking they're so special and that they know so much more than everyone else. And then Tony says, exactly. Let me tell you something. You got lucky. You're no more special than anyone else. And then you said cold shower. He goes, that's what I'm talking about. I was right back on board with how smart
I'm
this
here.
person
I'm plugged
is.
in, Dano. I'm plugged in. Because the thing is, famous people, you can learn so much. You got lucky. You did one thing. It's cool. It's great. People like it. That's it. But you got lucky. You're just like Billy. You're just like Jeremy. Maybe not Jeremy. You're just like Chris Cody. Like
all famous people got lucky?
Got lucky.
A lot of them.
There's 8 billion people on the planet, Dan. Like, people get lucky.
Even if you're not lucky, like you're good at like one thing, but that doesn't make you like so much smarter than everyone else at everything. You're like, oh, you can play the guitar, great.
Sick,
I don't need to know
okay.
how you bathe in the morning, all right?
I was thinking that with sports the other day, and like the margin of victory is so small in a lot of these things. Like we look at Tom Brady, he might just be the luckiest athlete in the history of sports. I'm not saying he's not above average. He's probably as good as a bunch of good players have been. You can't tell me that he didn't get lucky. There are a lot of field goal games. Like
you make your own luck, Chris.
I'm just saying, like it's interesting. If you really look at sports like this, you look at all these sports, like the Creighton thing we were talking about earlier. It's all such like he could call it, he couldn't call it. It's all luck. All of life is luck.
Yeah, but back to the cold showers and Tony.
That's not luck. That's hard work.
I think you guys are being slightly absolutist.
Nah.
When you're saying no one's ever achieved anything with merit. It's all
Only Jordan.
Everyone.
The only one.
Not Brady. I mean, I think, okay, fair enough. Brady
A lot of close wins for Brady.
Brady was totally lucky. Okay.
7 times.
None for Jordan.
Yeah.
Not close wins for Jordan.
7-game series.
Yeah.
The shot flu game, yeah.
Back to your cold shower.
Tony's ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous. It's something that is proven for longevity of life. Cold showers and doing something that is hard early in the day makes your day a lot easier. When you do cold showers and cold plunges, it boosts your dopamine levels 2 to 3 times higher than baseline.
Dan, you seem like you cold plunge.
I do.
Yep.
Really?
Tell him, Dan.
So does my brother.
Tell him, Dan.
Well, I really hate the cold. That's one of the many reasons I live
Everybody
in Miami.
does,
But
yeah.
I really, I live here
Bona fides.
because of how much I hate the cold. However, there is an absolute refreshing. I think scientifically, people will tell you that what you make happen to your body when you shock it with that kind of therapy makes blood go everywhere quickly and is a healthy way to start your morning.
There's a cold shock protein in your liver that gets released when you do those cold shock things, and it helps your brown fat against your organs. Like, it's really good stuff.
I feel like it would kill my dad.
It is dangerous. Like if you but for real, it is dangerous. If you go like your heart under the cold for too long, it's not good for you.
No,
Like,
that's not true.
Well, you can also hop in and hop out. Like ice baths, these athletes, the reason that they do ice bath type stuff, football players especially, is to make the healing, like to speed up healing. That's why they're doing it. It seems horrible. I would like the idea of Greg Cody doing it, though.
Yeah, he don't do that. I'm the oldest person in the
give him
room.
more
I
life.
take hot showers. I cannot. I never go in my pool when it's cold. I never take a cold shower. If my water heater is broken, I won't shower. I will take a hand bath.
What?
I will take a hand bath.
You haven't taken. When's the last time you took a hand bath?
Well, my water heater works.
That's
right.
right.
I pay the bill.
Exactly.
Or my wife does, but you get the point.
Can you explain the hand bath though? So you're just sprinkling a little bit of cold water all over your body?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
You
Right.
take
Target points.
You take a sponge or
Right.
a face cloth, and you put it on the water, a little soap, a little pit action.
Right.
Ballecular region.
Delightful.
And then you're all done. It's great.
Behind the ears.
That's right. Exactly.
The important parts.
Yeah, the important parts.
Yeah.
It's so you know what? People are gonna take this the wrong way. When you shower, when you have a hand bath, you don't really need to wash the arms and legs. You need to wash the armpits.
Agreed.
I said the same thing about
Chris,
my
this
life.
is how.
private
That's
region.
it. Now I know how it is that your son is unclean and doesn't know.
Come
did
look
not
at my-
learn
come
how
look at my
to
shins.
clean himself.
Look at his ballecular region, Dan.
Exactly.
What is that? What is the
Clean shins.
Please explain to me why you called it the molecular region.
Well, I don't want to be crude.
Scientific term.
I'm using,
look at my shins.
exactly. I'm using the scientific
Freckly
phrase.
but clean.
Well said. Yeah.
Right.
Chris Cody has said he never washes his legs. He just waits for the
I
suds.
wash the thighs and I let the soap do the rest.
He's got the
Oh,
right
who
idea.
wants to bend down and wash their legs?
It's
Just
a
let the
gag.
soap run down.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I actually prefer a hot plunge. They have them at most resorts.
Yeah,
it's great.
Steam
That
bath.
doesn't do anything though. Hot
Sauna.
plunge doesn't do anything.
Just
Can
a,
I
a
just-
hot tub. I love a hot
can-
tub.
can
I
I
love a
just-
hot tub and then jumping in the pool after. Huh? You feel relaxed? Yeah, Jeremy gets it.
But the pool
perfect.
back to the hot tub's even better. Yeah.
The trifecta.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Can I just say this? And I felt bad because this conversation happened before the show across the hall, and I felt guilty saying it immediately.
No, say it
because of the reaction.
Because I have something to tell you.
So right
Will you
now,
quit being defensive before he's
I'm
made?
not.
I haven't even said anything, and see how
He
this guy
hasn't
is.
said anything yet.
So because this is what happened, you just said that you like the hot one better, right? And by the way, Tony, I will
Just a
tell
hot
you-
tub.
I will tell you this: that when you are an athlete, you go and you do the hot and the cold. It's not just the cold.
Correct, but
Okay,
the hot
so
has different.
So it's not just it does nothing. So what happened was he went and he said that hot does absolutely nothing,
It
right?
has different properties than the cold, but okay, go ahead.
And what I said before when he was going on this whole thing, because Tony is someone that gives you all this advice that you don't want or need, and you know that most of it is bullshit.
He's a life coach.
So he's
Stop drinking
talking about.
Coca-Cola
He's a
at 9 in
life
the
coach
morning.
you didn't hire.
Exactly right. And by the way, and this is the part that I said.
He's trying to help.
Okay,
That's
but
all I'm trying to do is trying to help a friend.
this is the part that I said that I felt bad about, but I don't anymore. Where I said, Tony, I don't see any results to any of these tips that you're giving. You look exactly the same as you've always looked. You look the same as everybody else here. Like, enough with all your tips on how to make everybody better. You look exactly the same.
You know what I do? Because he said that earlier, and I didn't want to strike at that moment, but I wanted to save it for the show. So what I do is when I'm working out. No, when I'm working out.
That's what Stephen A. Smith does before he's about to like make an
I learned it
arm.
from the
Neck
goat.
stretch,
Yeah, I learned it from the
neck
goat.
stretch,
So-
and gets into the
Stretch in.
Like he's
let me
getting
get
ready to
everything
climb into a
Don't
boxing
insult
ring.
Stephen A. twice in a week
So
by
what-
comparing him to Tony.
His middle
favorite
name is
Stephen A.
Anthony as
move.
well. Middle name's Anthony. The A is Anthony. Anyways,
we should create the character Tony A. Tony
Anthony Stephen Smith.
Let me turn around and see you, Billy. So what I do when I'm lifting weights is I'll look into the mirror and be like, Billy talks shit about you. And then I start lifting and I
That's
go my
so
entire
sad.
workout and I'm like, Billy thinks that you're weak. Billy thinks that you're
it's
the same
fuel.
guy.
It's fuel
I
for
do
your
this in bed
workout.
with
It's
my wife.
fuel for my workout. Billy just sitting
What?
there being like, look at you. You look the same. You never grow. You're not strong. And I'm there like, ah, Billy.
Did you put weights on it? Because you look the same.
Billy, Bobby, let me tell you something. When was the last time you walked into a gym? You're going to have to call Ken
Whoa.
Francis for the entire gym with Lamar Jackson.
What is the answer to that question, Billy?
The
Is
last,
he-
before COVID.
Oh,
I Peloton
so,
now.
So
I
you're
don't need
talking
to go
about
into
3
the gym.
years
Right.
of you haven't even looked at a weight. You haven't
Have
even
they
looked
advanced
at
a
one.
lot that I'm not aware of?
No, it's just you don't use them, and I can tell.
Right. I look at weights. I just don't lift them.
Mm-hmm.
I got weights in my house. I look at them almost every day. The big ones too. You know, the big discs. I don't know how much they weigh. I don't get that close.
You know what I like, Greg? The
look at
invention,
them.
the dumbbell that you have that you change the weight on it. It's
Ah,
one
that's right.
dumbbell, and
Why
you
do you
lift
think
it
they
up.
call it dumbbells?
That's weak sauce.
Right.
But you stare at the weights.
I do. Yeah. I feel like through osmosis, it helps me. You know what I mean? They're in a stack, in a pyramid. The big discs that's like this big, and then the little one, then the little one, and then they're right in the corner of my room where I have my stationary bike. Not a Peloton. Come on, you don't need to spend big money unless Peloton's a sponsor.
Which
They have
It's-
been.
It's look, if you want the
It's
Cadillac,
great. There's spring
you buy a
savings.
Peloton. Don't get me wrong.
The Ermaton.
It's the Cadillac of whatever that's called.
Right.
I have a stationary bike. I think
Good
it's
advertising.
Yeah.
The Peloton,
No, you saved
the
it.
Cadillac of whatever that's called.
an exercise bike, a
sponsors will
stationary bike.
appreciate that.
I don't know what they're called, but mine,
Cadillac is a compliment.
right, mine is I bought a Pontiac. Okay, I've got people associate it with bicycles. I think my stationary bike is a Schwinn, believe it or not. I'm not sure, but I use it as often as I can. And while I'm using it, and I see the minutes ticking away, I'm listening to music at the time, but I'm looking at the weights in the corner of the room, and I feel like it just adds to the whole thing. You know, I'm picturing my legs are getting heavy because I'm picturing the weights are on my pedals. You know, the jumping Charlie's over there looking at what I'm doing, but eventually he just sleeps on the couch. It's a great experience. It really is. And the weights play a part. To your point, Tony, you know, you got to involve weights in your regimen.
Looking at them.
Well, better than not looking at them. Better than
Exactly.
ignoring them. You know, somebody asked me, are weights a part of your regimen? I can look him in the eye and say, you're damn right.
No, you can't.
Sure
no,
I
he can because he's looking at him. He's right.
Thank you.
Right.
Tony's got my
The
back.
most important part is starting and thinking about starting.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, it is because you start building the blocks of like, okay, I'm at the gym for 5 minutes and then leave.
Right.
Then I'm there for 10 minutes. Then I'm there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. If you'd start, you'd know.
Do you have
No, you're
words
right.
of encouragement written on your mirror? In your
No, I
bathroom?
don't. My mirror, my wife wouldn't allow that, please.
Put it on the poll, please, at LeBatard Show. Do you have any words of encouragement written around your house? I wanted to clarify a couple of things from yesterday, Stugotz. It's we love football. Football's important, and everyone listening to this knows that we talk a lot about football. And there are two quarterbacks available right now that generally aren't available. Stugotz came in today and announced for the first time, I'm done with Aaron Rodgers. Don't want him anymore.
Wow.
I don't think I said that. I mean,
Close.
It is what he said.
It is what
it's
you
just
said.
it's getting annoying.
But it is what you said.
Word
though.
for word.
You're like, it's what you said. What do you mean you don't think you said that?
I'm
You-
not intended to say that.
Well, I mean, look it up. I don't feel like I
said
actually
it before
said
the
that.
show. Nobody
I'm
would-
tired of people
look it up.
mocking me about Aaron Rodgers. You guys wanted me to be excited about Aaron Rodgers when the news broke, and I told you it's the Jets, and the Jets are capable of blowing this, and they still might. It has nothing to do with Aaron. It has everything to do with my organization.
Well,
Just get it done already. The guy went on national radio and said he wanted to be a Jet. He intends to be a Jet, and no one could find Mercedes Lewis. I mean,
it's also late in the show, but like yesterday, the Packers GM came out and they asked him about the fact that Aaron said you guys didn't talk, and he's like, "Well, that's because he didn't answer us. Like we reached out and we just couldn't get a hold of him."
Thank you for saying that way, because I saw on Get Up that Greenberg was also afraid of that general manager's last name. He was calling him Goot because he didn't want to get near the last syllable.
Goods.
And he was saying, yes, that was an odd. You don't see a lot of this with the legends, where the GM of the team, the guy's won a championship. He's kind of been, you've had two quarterbacks the last 30 years, and he's great. And goodbye is like, well, he wasn't returning our calls.
Yeah.
Like he says he wants transparency, and we were trying to reach him, and we couldn't reach Aaron Rodgers, which kind of goes the opposite of what he said on McAfee. So who's right here? Like, because this isn't what
not the Jets.
This is not what the exit ought to feel like for a legend, where now they're throwing into the mill. Yeah, kind of a jerk. Like we were trying to reach our quarterback. He says he wants transparency from us, and we can't reach him.
He's lucky. That's all he is. Guy's good. Throws a couple Hail Marys. Give me a break. Lucky. I could have thrown that pass. 40 yards.
There it
Come on,
is.
give me a break.
I
Hail
could
Mary?
have thrown that pass.
Yeah,
like,
come on.
okay.
Those are 50
70 yards.
All of a sudden, Randall Cobb or whoever it was just falls out of the sky and grabs it. Who cares? Lucky.
Okay.
I want to be as confident about anything as Tony is about everything.
I mean, it's just terrible analysis. Like,
And he's lucky?
I don't.
Or that anybody can throw that Hail
Tom
Mary.
Brady's lucky.
7 times.
As analysis, I want to salute you, Tony.
Thank you.
For months, we've been talking about Aaron Rodgers, all in the national landscape. You have now produced the single worst analysis of anyone talking about it.
What do you
Way
mean
to
by
go,
that?
Tone.
Impressive.
Way
What
to
do you
go,
mean by
Tone.
that? What was it? That he's lucky, or that I could have thrown the Hail Mary? I don't know.
Way to go.
It could be either.
Stugotz, what's the matter, buddy?
I mean, just one time. I mean, 40 years I've been rooting for this team, and just one time I wanted my team to play in that big game in that beautiful dome in Los Angeles.
Dome? What about the elements? Back in my day, we didn't play in a dome.
Let me tell you, back in my day, we considered football to be an honorable